I know that I promised you another Uncle Roger video, and I will keep my promise. But I am beyond angry. Recently I watched a video by Jimmy Dore essentially describing what other countries are doing for their citizens who have to lock down and not work to support themselves. Some countries are giving their citizens more than enough money to keep their heads above water, etc. And it is since the government that seems to be the one shutting everyone and everything down. Now, where I differ with Dore's argument is that we should be doing this in the United States because the rest of the world is. No. We should be doing this in the United States because it's the right thing to do. I mean, we're not playing follow the leader here. We're supposed to be the leaders. However, I wondered just how these other countries can afford such measures. And now I know. Americans are paying for it. So far I've read, and you can see this over 5,000-page abomination online, that we gave money to Pakistan for gender programs. We gave money to Sudan to the tune of $700 million. $135 million to Burma. I hope you don't mind I'm referring to my notes here. I kind of want to get somewhat right. $85 million to Cambodia. $1.4 billion to an Asian Reassurance Initiative Act. What are we doing? Paying our bullies now? $130 million to Nepal. $505 million to South and Central America. $1.8 billion. Almost $2 billion. $2 billion to Egypt and their military. And what the hell does the reincarnation of the Dalai Lama have to do with helping Americans survive this pandemic's effect on our livelihoods? In fact, I would venture to say the majority of American people don't even know who the Dalai Lama is. Or what it is. Meanwhile, there's fools out there watching our leaders who we voted in office. They're not our leaders. They're supposed to be our representatives. That's, I think, where we got it wrong in the first place. Anyway, we're watching these people who we voted into office to represent us look down their noses at us as they do as they damn well please, while we mere peasants get the pleasure of paying for all of theirs and their privileged friends' debauchery. You may have thought dinner was bad. I'm sure that what they do in some of the private mansions and everything like that, you don't want to know. That's what happens when you get money and you think you're untouchable. So, and I'm done. You know, I'm just done with this. I've got a few more decisions to make. Of course, I'm still going to try and stay on Facebook, or still going to try and stay on YouTube and do videos and things like that. This is actually the only thing I can do still. You know, I think a lot of us are done. $600. $600. Not even a house note for most people. After 6 months of misery, and the nerve of Nancy holding off just so Trump won't get his name on a check. Are you in the 5th grade, Nancy? Are you in the 5th grade? This is the kind of knee that you see in grammar school and junior high school. Well, I'm not going to share because you... She doesn't represent us. None of them represent us. They pull out personal vendettas against people and do this to the American people in return. You know, then she goes on to lie to Wolf Blitzer, who's actually on her side, supposedly. Like she's trying to one-up him when he tells her people are starving. I've heard her do interviews where she admits not letting anything through because of her hatred for the man in office. the man in the presidential office. You know, then she went on to accept half of what President Trump had actually offered her in the first place. Gave the rest of the planet our money and tossed us a little bit of change in our cups, as if we were begging on the corner. Meanwhile, they collected their full salaries the entire time this whole thing went on. They're even spending, get this, they're even spending $2 million to research downed trees. We used to do that kind of thing in the Arboretum at our high school. I wonder who the genius was that wrote the prospectus, if you will, on that grant. Because, you know, the government doesn't give grants or any kind of thing like that to anybody for research unless they can prove that it's an emergency or that it's something that's of dire importance, you know. And of course, if they do it each year to make it sound more and more and more, and it's like you throw all this money after them and it never gets any better. And they never find anything out. It's always a crisis. Government doesn't give out money for anything other than crises. So, down trees is now some kind of crisis. Oh, and by the way, if you'd actually like to have more than $600 in your stimulus check, all you have to do is be here illegally. Their families are getting 3 times the amount that American families are getting. And we've already had the pleasure of paying for that too. Why so much for the Smithsonian, the Kennedy Center, and the National Museum of Art? Kennedy Center has now received 2 helpings of U.S. stimulus, and none of them have been open this whole time. Where's all that money going? What an insult, man. And I'm not just talking about the Democrats either. Okay? Both parties are responsible for this monstrosity. And here's why. I've been watching this long enough now. I didn't pay that close of attention to it, but I've also done my research. I know my history. My dad was always a part of this when I was growing up, so I know who these people are essentially. But so many people have always complained, and this is from the 80s, I've heard this from the 80s, about the lack of diversity and any new ideas coming from our government, which is, the government is really only responsible for protecting our civil liberties and our rights, which they're now imposing, or compromising, if you will. Yet, we still, to this day, in our highest positions in these offices, have old, and I do mean old, and put it this way, these people were old when I was 18. I'm old now, and these people are old. Okay? White, old white people in charge that don't even represent anyone, including white people. Hell, Biden even had the nerve. The nerve. I mean, I was upset about this, because this is the most racist thing I've ever heard in my life. But Biden even had the nerve to take away your blackness if you didn't vote for him. First off, what kind of hubris is this? He can just wave his hand and take away someone's color? Or change what nature has made, I guess, or what God has made? You know, and secondly, why would anybody vote for someone that straight up tells you that you ain't nothing to them? And he's literally been doing this for 50 years. And by paying taxes, you fund them to hate us. You're funding them to do this to us. I say they've betrayed us for way too long. It's time to start calling, tweeting, Facebooking, any kind of way that you can get in touch with your representatives. Any way possible to get your voices out there. We're all stuck at home anyway, and they all have email addresses. They all have telephones. Everyone has telephones. I think you can even text them now. But you need to get your voices out there and start demanding that they do their jobs for us. They're supposed to represent us, not sell us to the highest bidders. Or in our case, give away all of our hard-earned labors, the fruits of our labor, while they lavish in the kickbacks from them. There's a reason why these people are millionaires on a $174,000 salary, which is supposed to be a part-time job. You know, these days, they've got too many of us people thinking that the government has money. Not until they take it from their countrymen. Just remember, that pittance that they gave you so graciously and deemed sufficient was yours to begin with. Please, please, start holding these representatives accountable. I've been doing it. I email as many as I can. Of course, most of the people that I voted for voted against this. So, if nothing else, let's vote them all out, or better yet, let's start recalling these monsters. They're already doing it in Michigan. They're already doing it in California. So, I'm sick of this crap. I can tell these people that are with these recalls, and if anybody in our government system did that, I would be the first one to recommend recalling. So, I'm sick of this crap, and I'm sure that a lot of Americans are. Thank you for listening to my rant. If you'd like to support my work and allow me to continue my work, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe or like or any kind of help that you can give me on here. It only takes a second. Of course, a donation would be the ultimate. I also am bearing gifts until supplies are gone. So there's a video. I'll put that down in the description. I'll put other things down in the description for you to check out for yourself on this video, from this video. With regards to what I was referring to as with Nancy Pelosi and with Joe Biden. And yeah, if you can help me out, that'd be awesome. A donation would be the ultimate, and like I say, I come bearing gifts until supplies are gone, and that's gonna be for a while. So come on, I've got plenty of stuff. I got plenty of stuff to send you. Help me go out of business and start my next business. Thank you for clicking on my little acre of the internet today. Until next time.